Hello everyone and welcome to the Horizon IndyCar Series. It's round 4 at Texas Motor Speedway. I, of course, Mark Murphy, joined by my partner in crime, Ryan Eric King. And Ryan, we've got 135 laps here at my favorite track in this car, in the service. It is the Texas Motor Speedway. And Ryan, tell the fans what they've won this evening.
They've won probably an hour, 45 minutes of some of the closest racing you could see on an oval in an Indy car. Despite being a mile and a half long, anytime you're racing around here, it feels like you're on a bull ring.
Yeah, it does. It's very, 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 very interesting to run laps here at the Texas Motor Speedway in these cars. The track is very different. Turns 1 and 2. Very wide, very flat. There are exactly 9,412 ways you can get an IndyCar through turns 1 and 2 here at Texas. There are exactly 2 that you can get through the more steeply banked, much more narrow turns 3 and 4. And watch out for the double dog leg on the front straightaway, Ryan. You can see guys late in runs and on old tires. You can turn a car loose just going down the front straight here.
Oh dear.
A little bit too much weight jacker, the banking falls away over there, and you can really get yourself into trouble. We're gonna go ahead and get the grid up for our fans here because it's qualifying time right now. Gary Lovern is the only car with a speed 209.546 for Gary Lovern. I have a suspicion that's not going to last, Ryan.
Yeah, it's probably only a matter of time until one of our usual front runners knocks it off.
For sure. And speaking of those front runners, you got Craig Forsyth in there, you got Kyle Clinworth in there, Josh Ward, always fast, Nick Wheeler, Mason Mitchum, Matty Wagner. Those are some of the cars that are yet to run here with 2 minutes left in the qualifying session. I suspect that there might be a little bit of gamesmanship going on pit road over there.
Yeah, because you tend to see it a lot in the official races where people just like waiting until the last possible moment to go.
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why that can happen. The first reason is these cars, whenever they set down in the sim, they are absolutely cold, and so they are at room temperature in terms of oil and water. You don't necessarily want to run an Indy car that way. There's an optimum temperature to have the oil and the water at, and there are ways that we can get them there. The other thing that they're doing is dynamic weather means that sometimes, not all the time, and right now it is hot here at Texas, but sometimes you can get that heavenly cloud that'll float over the speedway, cool it off later in the session. It's 129 degrees on the track right now, but if you've got cloud cover, especially if you get one that drifts over turns 1 and 2, you can set a quick time just based on a temporary drop in temperature. Not much wind here, north out of 2 miles an hour. That's blowing across turns 1 and 2. So they're going to have a ton of grip going into 1 and 2. It's going to be pushing them out of 3 and 4. 129 degrees on the track, though, Ryan. It is a scorcher.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Texas. If you're here during the middle of the day, no cloud cover, it is going to be boiling.
It absolutely is. Of course, this track is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is not the first major speedway in Texas. That honor belongs to the Texas World Speedway, which was it is now former. It's now a housing development, but that was located in College Station and built in the early 70s. It became disused in the early 80s due to corporate mismanagement, and the Texas, car racing in general left the state of Texas until the late 1990s when Texas Motor Speedway was built as a copy of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But Ryan, we are ticking down to time to go here. Qualifications have closed. And on the grid, Craig Forsyth is going to grab the pole 210.006 miles an hour. Edson Santos is going to be on the outside of the front row. Starting in third spot is going to be Lith Fox. On the outside of Lith, great qualifying effort for Gary Lovren. Alex Miller will go fifth. Frank Wynn is going to start sixth. Matt Wagner is going to be seventh alongside our good friend Will Stearns. He'll roll eighth. Hugo Gallows is going to be ninth. And Kyle Clinworth is going to be 10th. Now, I have a feeling that Matty Wags set this up so that it was a 2-lap average, because Clinworth actually has the fastest lap, although he's going to start 10th. In 11th, 11th, you're going to see Walter Macias. Good run for him. Yari Brubaker is going to go in 12th. Nick Wheeler start 13th. Mason Mitchum 14th. Josh Ward 15th. Stephen Lee, our good friend from the top split, 16th. Julian Altena 17th. Nick Surawak in 18th. You've got I can't talk. That's not good. Brian Greenlee is going to go 19th, and Shane Coker is 20th. Altena, Surawak, Greenlee, and Coker did not set a time, and that is your starting grid. We are doing a warm-up session here, and so that's kind of where we're at in terms of scheduling here. In order to get the correct qualification system, you've got to do a small warm-up, and so we're watching Kyle Clinworth circulate here just very briefly, a little bit of a warm-up, but we'll be to you with the race in about 40 seconds. That's going to be kind of a scrambled grid. It's going to be fun to watch Clindy, Altena, Wagner, guys like that are used to being up front. It's going to be fun to see them claw through the field here, Ryan.
Yeah, especially here at Texas, where because the racing's so close, it's really dangerous trying to move your way up through the field quickly. And it usually involves you trying to find clean air in the corners, making and picking your moves carefully, because one mistake and it's all over. There are no small crashes at Texas.
No, there's not. And you can see from this blimp shot here just exactly how wide turns 1 and 2 are. And that's going to lend itself to guys storming to the front. There are two distinct strategies to approach turns 1 and 2. You can rip the fence, but it's going to be hard on the tires. You can lift off and you can wrap the bottom. It's kind of like, have you ever been to a sprint car race at Terre Haute?
I've seen them.
Yeah, so you know how you've always got half the field running the rail and they're going real slow, and you've got guys in a full four-wheel drift up at the top? That's kind of
Yeah.
like watching a race at Texas, baby. Kind of like that. Get the grid going here. See Walter Macias, he's lined up. Familiar colors for Walter. There's Will Stearns. You can see Alex Miller, Gary Lovern, Craig Forsyth at the head of the grid. Beautiful shots here, and we want to thank our friends at Whiplash SimCams for those as we get ready to bring you 135 laps of action here at the Texas Motor Speedway in the Horizon IndyCar Series. And just to kind of set the stage for our fans here are the points for the series thus far. On 2 wins, you've got Kyle Clinworth. He leads it by 28 markers over Matty Wagner. Julian Altenna, 47 points behind, tied for third with Josh Ward. Everybody else, Alex Miller, Craig Forsyth, Nick Wheeler, they are more than 1 start worth of points out of the lead. And you got to figure these guys are going to have to start scoring, or Clindy and Wags are going to run away with this deal.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing that you see in these championships where you have to turn your forces around early to start gradually closing that gap, and you kind of have to hope that you see some of these front runners run into misfortune.
You know, and you don't necessarily want to see misfortune, perhaps, but you definitely want to see. You definitely want to see, guys have. You definitely want to see. You definitely want to see guys get up toward the front that maybe haven't been. That haven't necessarily been up there. Sheridan Wayne says he lives about an hour from Terre Haute. I grew up 2 hours south, just outside of Evansville, Indiana. Terre Haute is a staple, by the way, of Indiana dirt tracks. Very fast half mile. It is also, Ryan, the only dirt track I've ever been to that has an infield tunnel, believe it or not.
Yeah, you don't normally see infield tunnels at dirt tracks.
And it is, I use the word tunnel loosely. It's like corrugated, that corrugated steel that they use to make garbage cans out of? It's like a tube of that runs under the racetrack. And I'm not so sure that there isn't a hump, there for it, but on the racing surface itself. But there is an infield tunnel at Terre Haute. Anyway, the pace car is getting ready to come off the speedway. You see the field very small up there in turns 3 and 4. Craig Forsyth, Hudson Santos, going to lead him down. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and the race, Ryan Eric King, is on. Already we got some cars spinning. That's Hugo Gallas in the back there. He saves it. Hugo going to go all the way to the back with his teammate Julian Altenna. Julian taking it easy on the start, but Hugo got it way out of shape there.
Just when I said there are no small crashes in Texas, someone decides to prove me wrong.
They showed up here tonight, Ryan, just to prove you wrong, my man. We've got Craig Forsyth leading it. We've got Craig Forsyth leading it. Lith Fox is second. Gary Lovern third. Alex Wagner fourth. Matty Wagner has stormed up to fifth from his 8th place starting spot just as we start working at lap number 2. You see Lith Fox going to go green there. Go to the purple lap, rather. 2:07.5 on the fast lap. Sheridan, you should join the series. Sheridan Wade in chat says he might join. You should join up here. It's a good time. There's a core group of about a dozen guys that basically run the same circuit. You got the ISRA on Monday night. You've got Area 51 Tuesday, and this series on Wednesday. And there's a core group of about 10 or 12 of us that basically do the whole thing. If I wasn't in the booth, Ryan Eric King would be calling me upside down out there on the racetrack with these guys. I love Texas. And I really like racing with these competitors. Craig Forsyth going to come by to start lap number 5 over Lith Fox and Gary Lovern. And there you see him. That's the front 3. We're going to go a little bit further back because we're already starting to see the difference in lines. They're already taking shape. That's Alex Miller in 4th, Matt Wagner has fifth. It's in fifth. He wants fourth. He's got Edson Santos right behind him. Now watch Wagner here, Ryan. He's going to climb to the high side and see if he can't slingshot around Alex Miller down the back. That's the way you do it. Nobody up at the front is really running up high, but look at how high Wagner is on the racetrack there.
Yeah, the line's a lot longer, but you make that up all at the end with that momentum, that difference in speed to really get an advantage down the back straight.
You most certainly do. We'll go on board Matty Wagner, and you'll see him. He's going to kind of follow Alex Miller down the front straightaway here. We're going to click off one more lap and watch the difference in lines, looking out of what would approximately be Matty Wagner's left eyeball. You see Miller going high there. Wagner went to the bottom side. All the way down, you do shift into fourth gear, and you absolutely do scrub off a ton of speed. If you do this right and in the hot weather like this, you're going to be well below 190 miles an hour going through turns 1 and 2. Let's watch it again. This time, let's get up on the roll bar. See, he's dabbing the brakes. He's down to 185 miles an hour there, Ryan, rolling through turns 1 and 2, trying to grab that bottom.
Yeah, and that difference in line really, you're going to see it really be an advantage later in runs when, if you're running that low line through 1 and 2, the car likes to get really loose on the exit at 2.
Yes, it does, and we need to zoom out of here because there's a challenge. Edson Santos goes right around the bottom. He's going to take fifth place off of Matty Wagner, so move Edson to fifth. Wags is going to try to come back down the inside in turns 3 and 4. Thinks better of it, and he'll fall back in line. Clinworth, by the way, has moved from 10th to 7th, so Clinty is on the charge, but we've got a battle for the lead, and it's a good one. It's going to be Lith Fox up top, Craig Forsyth on the bottom. Gary Lovern is the interested party in the maroon and white VOR machine. Lith Fox is going to get to the outside of Craig Forsyth going down the back here, Ryan.
Ooh.
Awfully close.
Moved on.
Now, which one of these guys is going to sling it to the top side and really try to get that slingshot effect? So far, we've only seen Wagner and, to a little bit of a point, Lith Fox. Although I think Lith is going to try to cross up Craig Forsyth going down the back straight. Will do so. Lith Fox to the bottom, Craig Forsyth to the top. Lith Fox is going to go to the lead here. 11 laps in to our 135 lapper here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Ryan has the preferred line.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits that makes racing exciting here at Texas in this configuration, where the ideal line through 1 and 2 to overtake is the outside, but it's the opposite in 3 and 4. So it really gives, both lanes an advantage, so to speak.
It really does, and the optimum way with kind of a scuffed or scrub setup, and I'm not going to say anything bad about the setup that's on these cars for sure. But the optimum way that when you have a fixed series and everybody's on the same setup, to make a pass, what you really want to do is build the run through 1 and 2 so you can kind of slingshot down the back and just not give the other car a chance to fight back in turns 3 and 4, complete the pass down the front. But these cars are going so fast through there, it takes laps and laps to set up a charge like that, and you're kind of seeing it. Here. Craig Forsyth does the same thing, right? Offsets turns 1 and 2, gets the run down the back, makes the move into 3 and 4, put Craig Forsyth back in the lead. And that battle between the front three, well, that's allowed Alex Miller and Edson Santos to creep into the picture, along with Kyle Clinworth, who slipped past Matty Wagner into 6th. So I know you've been all over the place with the IndyCar Series. Ryan, have you been to the Texas Motor Speedway?
No, I've not been to an IndyCar round in Texas.
So, and we won't get the chance this year. I did not go. My dad and my brother did in like 2004, 2005. They came down here. For a night race and said it was absolutely electric. It was the old car, Tony Kanaan. They recall that was when they used to do a unique thing here at Texas where they would do the driver introductions and the drivers would walk through the grandstand to get to their cars, if you remember that. But they said that was absolutely one of the coolest things they did. Tony Kanaan autographed my dad's headset that day.
Wow.
Walking through the crowd to get to his car. Edson Santos runs to the bottom of Alex Miller. Edson looking to grab fourth, and here comes Clindy, and we might yet see a car go to the very top, and it's going to be Kyle Clinworth right up to the top. And watch this run, Ryan. Here he comes. That is going to be unstoppable. Clinworth, he's going to check it up. He thinks better of making it 3 wide through 3 and 4. Wise move from a rapidly maturing Kyle Clinworth. He's going to get around Gary Lovern. Now be careful there. You don't want to get net coated. It is early, 117 to go, Clindy. You got plenty of time. But nope. Contact Gary Lovern, Kyle Clinworth hard in the inside wall. Caution is on the speedway.
Whoa. Yeah, I was worried when they were side by side going through the quad oval, because the quad oval here is deceptively narrow, but things just never really separated out when they went into the corner.
No, they didn't. And unfortunately going down the back, you're so fast there. It didn't look like there was a lot of racing room between those two cars. And unfortunately, Kyle Clinworth, wheels were banged, and the fenders got bent. A tough break for points leader Kyle Clinworth, who is now going to need to come to pit road and effect a fast repair if there is one. If there's not, he might be out of this. He might be out of this one. You just see, that's some crazy net code there. There was at least a wheel's worth between those two cars. Unfortunately, it turns Lovern loose back into Clindy, and hard contact with the inside retaining wall. So down the pit lane we come. We are under caution, 116 laps to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Craig Forsyth going to lead them on the pit road. Not a soul stayed on the racetrack other than Brian Greenlee to get a lap back. Surprised by that at all, Brian?
I'm not surprised. It's still relatively early.
So one of the things about Texas, because of the unique nature of the course here, and there's Clindy, and he has repaired the damage to the number 11, and so Clindy back out onto the speedway. I mean, I'll say this track almost more than any other, with the exception of maybe Iowa, chews tires, and it's because of the unique nature of it. It's a setup compromise. To go fast through 1 and 2, you've got to do some different things that the car doesn't really like through 3 and 4. And so basically you get the choice here. Do you want to trash the right front, or do you want to trash the right rear? And so it's a very difficult, very delicate balance. It can be it's always a compromise, kind of like Pocono in that way. And the track surface is old and it's abrasive, and it chews the tires up on these IR18s pretty severely, especially if you try to rip the top line in turns 1 and 2. You can burn your tires off in 10 laps here. So everybody's going to come to pit road. Everybody's going to get a set of freshies. Nobody took gas only. Craig Forsyth back in the lead over Lith Fox and Edson Santos, who's now third. Could say Gary would Lovern to get involved with the action. He's right there, guys. He's running in fourth. Santos did get past him in the pit stop exchange, but hey, that's a great run for Gary Lovern. He's leading that Altena Autosport. Trio. You've got Lovern in fourth. Julian is 15th. Hugo Gallas is in 16th, and so give a shout out to Gary Lovern for carrying that flag. Clindy just got in the chat. He said a lot of everything is broken right now. We're hoping it doesn't stay that way for you, Kyle. Definitely one of the fastest guys at this racetrack. Always a pleasure to race with here, and we're hoping he can keep that machine up near the front. Maybe get it worked on, get it back into shape. But we're getting ready to go back to green Mr. Ryan Eric King.
Green, green, green.
Green flag waves. Craig Forsyth right on the loud pedal. He'll draw away from Lith Fox and Edson Santos. And let's keep an eye on this on the fifth place runner. That's Kyle Clinworth. He says it's broken. Let's see if it stays that way. We got trouble in the back. One car around, multiple cars in the fence. Big wreck. I saw Josh Ward involved. Caution is back on the speedway. That's Stephen Lee missing some parts and pieces. What has happened? What has happened here? I think it all starts with Andrew Surowack in the number 24. Let's
I think he just gets loose.
Yeah, it's going to be... That's going to be the classic... Ooh, that's going to be the classic cold tires.
And
no,
on his own behind him, Josh Ward also gets loose and gets the car down onto the apron, and then their two collisions combine into, well, the perfect storm.
I don't know if it was Ward that got loose behind him. Josh Ward was the first one into the side of Andrew Surowack there. We're going to get on board on the roll hoop so the fans at home can kind of see. And remember, this is at quarter speed, right? This is at 1/4 speed, so 25% speed. I know it looks slow, but watch the 24 here. He's going to come down the top. He's going to get all the air on the front wing. There it goes sideways. Josh Ward is loose, but it looks like he has it saved. Apron bad. He's okay. Uh-oh. Over the top he goes. Hard impact for Josh Ward. He's going to get tagged. And then somewhere in all this, Stephen Lee also came to grief. And I think I figured out why Josh Ward was loose, Ryan.
Now, did he get tagged?
I think he might have had some assistance from the 31. We're watching Stephen Lee go down into turns 1 and 2. He's not on him quite yet. No, he didn't. He didn't get into him until Ward had already broken loose. But it did break the front wing for Lee. He's going to go hard into the wall. Another tough break for a very rapid Georgian, who is now he's now got some severe damage to his Dallara. Looks like everybody has been back to the pit lane, got it fixed. So we'll reset the field for you. 25 laps in. Craig Forsyth is your leader. Lith Fox is second. Edson Santos third. Gary Loven fourth. Kyle Clinworth is fifth. Matty Wagner, Alex Miller, Will Stearns, Yari Brubaker, and Nick Wheeler will round out your top 10. Julian Altena somehow snuck through that. He is 11th with Hugo Gallows 12th. Shane Coker 13th and Mason Mitchum 14th. That's a pair of teammates, Altena and Gallows for VOR. Coker and Mitchum for the votive team. Walter Macias is 15th. Andrew Surowack 16th. Stephen Lee 17th. Josh Ward 18th. Brian Greenlee 1 lap down in 19th. And Frank Wynn is 3 laps in arrears. He has scored 20th. We are 25 laps into a scheduled 135 here in the Horizon IndyCar Series round at Texas. This is round 4. Mark Murphy joined by Ryan Eric King. As always, if you like the stream and the channel, please do give a thumbs up to the broadcast. Ring the bell to subscribe. Those are the 2 easiest, best, and most importantly, free ways that you can support the efforts here at P1 Broadcasting. Again, 110 to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. 25 complete. Craig Forsyth leads it over Lith Fox. Ryan, I think we're gonna have a green flag here.
Yes, we are.
Barney's got it in his hand. Craig Forsyth stands at the ready. Here we go. Green is out. Forsyth again will draw away from Lith Fox. Field files through. And let's see if they can all make it through turn 1 this time. I don't see any smoke, Ryan. That's a good sign.
Yep, very good.
We do thank Clindy for clicking the thumbs up from the driver's seat. Always appreciated, especially when the drivers get involved. Give the fans at home one of my favorite views, and this is something Whiplash does provide us with. This is the fan cam. This is what you would see if you bought a ticket and came to the Texas Motor Speedway. That would be from the end of the backstretch. This would be from the end of the grandstand, turn 3, looking down the front. That's about where my dad and my brother sat, right there on the start-finish line. And then into turns 1 and 2. Lith Fox going to take the purple lap, 2:08.473. Trying to go around the outside of Craig Forsyth here.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Caution on the speedway. Stephen Lee. At the inside of turn 1. And let's see what's happened to Stephen Lee. He is behind. Let's see.
Oh, he's behind Mason Mitchum.
He is, and it tricked me. Mitchum has 38 on the car, but he is number 3. And is that, he gets in the back. Who is the black car there? That is Mason Mitchum that he hits. I think he might have been behind. I don't want to say. I think he might have been behind maybe Shane Coker. But Mitchum was awfully slow down that front. And so here it is. Mason Mitchum gets it loose coming off of turn 4. Has to get out of the gas. He saves it. And then he's going to get in the wall here on the front stretch. And poor Stephen Lee had just gone to go around Coker and just straight in the back of Mason Mitchum. And a tough break for Stephen Lee. That'll be 2 for him. And that may well be game over for Stephen Lee.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of them bad deals where there's no way you could have known, 2 cars ahead that someone was going off speed and you pull out to make the pass and there's nothing you could do.
You might want to check the fast repairs that are available here, Ryan, if you can, because Stephen Lee came in, slid into his pit box, the car snapped back into place, and Stephen Lee is back out on the speedway. And so he's been involved in a couple of incidents. Be interested to note, for whatever reason, it's not showing me guys that have taken a fast repair in our timing and scoring. So, Ryan, you check on that. Is it just 1? Is it 2? How many do they have down there?
Let's see. Ooh. Oh. Yeah. On the server, it says there's no limit to fast repairs.
Indeed. So that would explain why Stephen Lee has come in and snapped back into place. By the way, I erroneously called it with Shane Coker that he was behind. He was behind Brian Greenlee. There. Also, Matt Wagner has been on pit road, and he has been there. Matty Wags has been on the pit lane now for 1 minute and 45 seconds. So 1 minute and 45 seconds of repair for Matt Wagner. I didn't see him get involved in anything or hit anything, but he is definitely sitting on the pit lane for now approaching 2 minutes. He has gone a lap down. In front of him is going to pull the 91 machine. And of course, we don't have a 91, so that's Frank Wynn, 97. I can't read the signboard. It's never a good day at the office when you can't read the signboard, is it?
Yeah, that's normally a sign to have a break.
It's kind of rough. I was on vacation. I was on the Celebrity Apex for a couple of weeks with my wife Ryan. We other than we put the Monday night top split in the Israel race on, I somehow got talked him into to putting it on in in the bar right outside of the casino. But beyond that, I took 2 weeks completely away from this thing. Didn't really even think about sim racing, to be honest with you. Very refreshed, but kind of rusty coming back to it. I'll tell you who's not rusty. That's Craig Forsyth. He has led most of the way. He's got the green flag, and away we go. Wagner back on the track, by the way. He has scored 1 lap down. Frank Wynn is 3 laps in arrears. The other 18 cars, they're on the lead lap. That battle for the lead is heating up again, Ryan Eric King. Forsyth has the bottom. He's got the lead. Lith Fox has got the top, and Lith wants the lead.
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding that opportunity and taking it.
Now we really haven't had a run that was deep enough, but we do have slightly offsetting tire strategies. So the front 9 on 14 lap old tires. Josh Ward and Andrew Surowack in 10th and 11th, they're on 10 lap old tires. But then everybody from 12th on back, that's Miller, Brubaker, Altena, Lee, Gallas, Greenlee, Mitchum, those cars from 12th back to 18th, they have all taken tires, and Will Stearns has come down the pit lane. And that almost seems like it's routine or scheduled. Very odd. He pulled in coming into turn 3. And so Will Stearns is down the pit lane. Going to pull in the box. Will just pulls in. He takes, that almost looks like a stop and go.
Yeah, that was strange.
Indeed, indeed. Speaking of things that aren't strange, now you're starting to see the wild lines. We're looking at Walter Macias, Julian Altena, Nick Wheeler, Alex Miller, and Stephen Lee. They're 3 wide going through turns 3 and 4. That's Lee on the bottom, Miller in the middle, Wheeler at the top. They sort it out, but watch them fan out here, fans. You've got everybody from Stephen Lee all the way at the bottom to Julian Altena trying to make like Kyle Larson through turns 1 and 2. You can do that. It does not appear that the marbles are on here this evening at Texas, and that's going to mean the entire racing surface is available at any time for the competitors, and that's going to make for some wild racing indeed. Spread out one more time. Julian is making some time on that high line, Ryan.
Yep, Julian's going to find his way up to the front if he keeps driving like that.
Well, and it's kind of like I said earlier, you can, and Julian is one of those guys that is on the fresher rubber. He only has 8 laps on his tires. Now, I know that there were a couple of caution periods in there, but this track is one that it does, because of the cameras you have to run, you do have tire wear under caution, and people don't realize that. But Altena is pulling up on Walter Macias. Walter is 9th. He's working on Shane Coker in 8th. Walter running the blue Team Cool green car. That is that was most famously run by what? Dario Franchitti ran the blue cool car, was it?
Yes.
That was one that you didn't see very often. And look at the alternate lines. And Julian, he got the clean air on the bottom, and he will shoot right past Walter Macias. He'll get into 9th place. He's got Shane Coker directly in front of him. And then next up on the hit parade would be Josh Ward in 7th. But Julian wants to make full use of these tires while he's got him. Shane Coker goes all the way to the top of the speedway. Julian Altena to the bottom. Walter Macias gets the dirty air. Move Julian up to 8th. He's going to be worth the price of admission. If he can keep coming, he's going to have the best tires at the front. Other than Craig Forsyth, they don't wear out near as quick when you're leading the thing. But anybody in dirty air right now, Julian has a massive advantage, and he needs to get it while the getting's good, Ryan.
Oh, without a doubt, because you don't know when this run can come to an abrupt halt.
That's absolutely true. And you also, you've got unlimited fast repairs in this thing. So guys are going to be a little bit more brave knowing all you got to do is get it back to your pit box. Andrew Surowak is going to dive down underneath Josh Ward, move Surowak into 6th, Ward to 7th. And here comes Julian Altina right up next to, I thought he was going to have a run there, but almost to the gearbox of Josh Ward. Now, Julian's got to be careful. He does have the newer tires, but he can absolutely burn them off in a heartbeat.
Yeah, especially with the leaders side by side. Like, it creates, if you're behind 3 cars at this track, there is an incredible amount of dirty air that gets kicked up.
Most certainly is. Now, Surowak is going to go back by Josh Ward. Ward going to fall in behind Surowak. That's 6th and 7th. That's going to let Julian edge even closer here, just about 0.3 of a second. And that's what Julian doesn't want to see. So you see Surowak go to basically the 3rd line. Ward goes to the bottom. Julian's kind of, you've got to commit to your line almost, I'm going to say just as soon as you come off the second part of the double dog leg. And if you guess wrong, you get a face full of dirty air and straight to the back you go. Meanwhile, Surowak and Ward continue to battle, and this is what Julian does not want to see. He wants these boys to get single file so he can drive by them. Don't want to shortchange the leaders here because Edson Santos and Craig Forsyth are side by side for the lead. Kyle Clinworth has moved around Lith Fox and moved Clindy to 3rd. He is going to pull right up on this lead duo, and I don't think it surprises you in the least to see these 3 names at the front of this field, Ryan.
Not at all.
All right, man.
Oh, we have a car.
It's
car off in the backstretch.
It's going to be Surowak. There he is. The fenders have definitely been bent on that 24 machine. And let's see what has befallen our now 16th place runner, and it's as you called it at the beginning of the show, right rear hot, car slide bad, around she goes, and straight into the inside wall goes Andrew Surowak. He's going to bring out the caution. Thankfully, nobody else involved, but that's a tough break for Andrew Surowak, and he's got a toe on top of that, so he's gonna be. He's going to lose multiple laps here, unfortunately. Well, he hasn't towed. He's still broken on the backstretch there. But a tough break for Andrew Surowak. He's trying to limit. He knows he's got the fast repair. He's trying to not go any more laps down. But Andrew, I don't think that one's going to go much further. You might want to.
Yeah, just cut your losses.
I think he might lose more time not towing it. Meanwhile, wholesale pit stops. For the entire field. There is one car that stayed out. Craig Forsyth going to win the race off of pit road. It does appear as though Clindy is going to edge out Santos, maybe? Be careful, by the way, Clindy. Don't get up above that line there. They'll throw you a penalty even under caution. Give this man his due. Brian Greenlee is going to stay out. He's going to lead a lap. How about that? It wasn't but a few laps ago at the beginning of this thing, Brian Greenlee was a lap down, Ryan. And here he is. He's leading a race. It's under yellow. Of course, he did not stop. Matt Wagner, by the way, has gotten himself back on the lead lap, as has Will Stearns, Nick Wheeler. So we now have 18 cars on the leader lap. Frank Wynn is now 2 laps down, as is Andrew Surowak. They're 19th and 20th. So if you had one track that you had been to that IndyCar no longer goes to, and you wish they could go back, Ryan, which one would it be? You've been all over the country with these cars. What would be one you'd like to see come back? that isn't on the
Oh.
schedule? You got some downtime.
Probably my home track. Probably Watkins Glen.
Now that would be fun. That would be a fun one. I would love to go to that one. To be completely honest with you, one of the rare racetracks I haven't been to, along with Texas. I had the opportunity to go, it just didn't quite work out.
So over the team radio, Brian Greenlee did mention that he did want to pit. He just missed the entry.
Well, and now he's made the bed, and he's going to have to kind of lay in it. The lights are out on the pace car there, Ryan. So he's the leader, whether he likes it or not. And we'll see. He is low. He is awfully low on the racing surface, and I think that's a sign he's not really too worried about. He's not really too worried about defending the lead. But he is the leader nonetheless as we get ready to come back to green. Barney's got the green flag in the air.
Green flag, green flag.
And Greenlee does go off the bottom. That's something you don't see very often, Ryan.
Yeah, you don't see it often, and whoop.
He went from the bottom, and he drives it immediately to the top. Forsyth back to the lead. Clinworth is going to be second. Now let's see if Greenlee can hang in here on those 20-lap old tires. They're going to be good for a lap or two because they're cooled off. But once they get some heat in them, I don't expect that he's going to be able to stay up there for any kind of time here. And there you see the new tires tell Surawak off of pit road. But Edson Santos gets down into turn 1, turns it left, goes past Brian Greenlee down the back, moves Santos to third, Greenlee to fourth. Clindy is stalking Craig Forsyth in front of these two. And what Greenlee needs is for this group here to kind of break away and see if he can't stay attached to him long enough that he can kind of just find a level in, it's somewhere in the top 5 or even in the back half of the top 10. That would still be a massive gain over where he was running previously. He's still going to have to stop at least, I would think, twice.
Yeah, it's sort of, riding the comet that are these lead guys and just hoping your tires hold on until the next caution comes out.
Yeah, I mean, he's halfway through the fuel run, but if he can kind of find a level here, he's got an alternate strategy that just might work out for him. Given, these tanks aren't full to begin with, given that you probably only got 40, 45 laps that you're going to be able to run here. If Greenlee's halfway through, he's going to have a good long while on sticker tires if it stays green, while everybody else is running around on very used, worn out Firehawks. Unfortunately, he's losing a ton of time. That time by Brian Greenlee was almost a second off the lead, 0.7, 26,154 to Forsyth's 25,484. And while we're talking about Greenlee, we're missing a battle for the lead. Clinworth is all over the back of Craig Forsyth. Clindy, of course, had a bit of an issue qualifying. He started 10th. He is currently 7th. He's been as low as 16th. He was involved in an earlier accident, but great recovery for Clindy. Let's have a look at what it looks like to be Kyle Clinworth. Just right there. That's kind of Ryan textbook for what you want to do here at Texas. If you're second, you want to kind of just ride. If it's an unlimited hydroplane race, you'd call that spot where Clindy's riding the leader's hip pocket.
But someone wants to make this a 3-way fight.
You can always count on Edson Santos and that leaner energy car to absolutely bring the excitement. He dove under Clindy. Clindy was just kind of riding to the outside of Forsyth, enjoying some clean air. Edson said, I think I'd like to have second place.
All right, man.
And gives it a
Caution is out.
shot.
Caution
We've
is
got
out.
caution on the speedway. Yari Brubaker hard into the wall down the back. That car has been absolutely used up. And it's going to be a victim of too much weight jacker exit turn 2, Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ooh.
Though he initially saves it, but
He did, but then hard impact from Nick Wheeler over the top, and Wheeler's going to come down. He's going to get his boss Shane Coker there. So all three of those cars involved. Tough break for Yari Brubaker. I thought he did have it saved, and that's something that we kind of might not talk a whole lot about. You see him, he's going to try to get. He absolutely wants to get that thing back to pit lane under its own power if he can, because if he can do that, he doesn't lose a lap with a fast repair situation. But that can't be very much fun to drive there, Ryan.
no, not fun at all.
Kind of see riding on board with Yari, but that car is used up, crab walking it, 80 miles an hour. So he is going slightly faster than the pace car. Now this is the hardest part when you've got a car like this. It's not necessarily getting it back into pit lane, Ryan. It's just getting it into your pit box.
Yeah, because if you miss the spot, it could be so hard to reverse and try to maneuver your car into a place where they can service you.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be Yari's big problem there. He stops it. No, there he goes. He got it. So the 89 is going to snap back into place. He did not take tires or do any other service. He just wanted to come in, grab the fast repair so he could stay on the lead lap. Out of the pit lane goes the 89 of Yari Brubaker, and he does stay on that lead lap. Nick Wheeler and Shane Coker both are now 2 laps down. They had to tow it, but Yari manages to stay on that lead lap. Get back to the front here. Nobody in the top 11 pitted. So Forsyth, your leader. Clinworth second. Santos third. All these cars have been out 13 laps. Fox fourth. Julian Altena has made it to fifth. Gary Lovern sixth. Walter Macias seventh. Alex Miller eighth. Matt Wagner ninth. Mason Mitchum is 10th. Your top 10 did not stop. Josh Ward, Stephen Lee, Will Stearns, Brian Greenlee, and Hugo Gallas round out your top 15. And then Yari Brubaker is 16th. Those cars all have stopped. Frank Wynn, Nick Wheeler, Shane Coker, and Andrew Surwack, 17th through 20th. Those cars are all 1 lap down. So once again, under caution here at the Texas Motor Speedway, 73 laps to go. We have not yet hit halfway in this race, and Ryan, you got to believe that some of these guys might be getting a little bit frustrated. You want to race. You want to see the tire dag play, especially if you're somebody like Craig Forsyth that is able to use that to your advantage. The Forsyths, the Clinworths, the Santoses, Julian Altena, as we go back to green. Those guys want a long green flag run. That plays to their strong suit, does it not?
That's the one thing about Texas. You can't get frustrated here. You get frustrated, you make mistakes. You have to be patient.
Most certainly do. Lith Fox might have been too patient on that restart. Lith dropped over a second back from Edson Santos. Lith Fox under fire now from Julian Altena in fifth. Fox has got 2 VOR cars. That's Altena and Lovern, 5th and 6th. And the cool car of Walter Macias, followed by Alex Miller in 8th. They're all in your shot there. Julian is working that high line for all it's worth, though, Ryan. Just look at the run he gets too.
Just ridiculous.
We're gonna show the offset here going down the front. So here's Julian. He's cruising along. There's the start finish. There's the inside line. Lithfox going to the bottom. Julian Altena almost all the way to, well, not all the way to the top, middle of the speedway. Tires still have pretty good grip. You don't want to go all the way up there necessarily. But Julian's going to be right on the gearbox of Lithfox here at the end of the front straightaway. And you see the offset from Julian Altena. He is making ground on Lithfox. Almost a tenth quicker that last lap. I would suspect he's going to be a tenth quicker this time. And if there's not some dirty air thrown up there, he's going to be alongside Lithfox here within the next couple of laps, Ryan.
And they're not that far back from the leaders right now.
No, and you saw that Fox moved up to the middle of the speedway. Julian went even higher, and that's the choice you have to make. You know, you don't think about it. You're watching the race on TV, of course, but you have to make that choice. If you're Julian, we're going to get back up on the roll bar. You've got to make a choice whether you're going high or low right now. Now Altena doing the over-under. So he started high. Fox moved up the racing surface. Might have caught the wall a little bit. Julian backs off the throttle mid-corner. He dives to the bottom. Move Julian Altena up to fourth. Lithfox is going to go back to fifth. Now, I had an absolute battle royale with Altena in the VOR series here at this track. It was a night race, Ryan, but we're going to pull this. We're going to pull this back. I had streamed it, but for whatever reason, and I don't know why, my stream was only going at about 4 frames a second. So it was kind of like watching. You ever play Race Driving on the Super Nintendo, Ryan Eric King?
Yeah.
You remember how broken that game was? It was like it was like playing. It was like driving a car with still pictures almost. That was kind of how that. That was kind of how that stream looked, because it was back during the dark times. But Julian had the lead going into the final lap. He had passed me a couple of laps previous. Julian had the lead, and he made the mistake of doing what Lithfox did, where Lith, went in a little bit lower and then saw Altena at the top, so he tried to move up the racetrack and had to get out of the gas on exit. Julian did that, and I wound up drafting by him. It took me a little bit longer. He got back to the gas a little bit quicker, but I wound up drafting by him coming back to the line, won the race. And so Julian, I'm proud to say, is using my moves out there. My man, Julian Altena, he's come all the way from the back. He started 17th without a qualifying time. He is currently 4th. And I got to say it too, Ryan. Julian is catching that front trio.
Yeah, I give it 3-4 more laps and he'll be fighting them.
Probably so. For Craig, Forsyth still leads it. Santos still second. Clinmore still third. An absolute trainload of experience among this top 4. I don't know how many starts Forsyth has. It's got to be in the thousands. Same for Santos. Clinworth is at the front in basically every big race now. And then, Julian has, been running a very successful league for a really long time. If you want to do an IndyCar race on a Saturday afternoon, if you're in the United States, Saturday evening if you're in Europe, check out the Velocity Online Racing channel. That's an awesome league. A lot of names that you may not see just because of the time difference from Europe to the States. I know Julian stays up pretty late to do this or gets up really early. One of the two, but you see some names that you don't see very often in those races, and it's an absolute blast to run with the Euro set. I'm in that series, so is Forsyth, and it's a ton of fun. Santos now has got to the outside of Craig. And And to his credit, Forsyth does not want to give up the lead here, Ryan. And you think that that's just he wants to keep the clean air on the nose of that player's liveried machine?
Yeah, where if you want to keep your tires as fresh as you can, clean air is the best way to do it. And you're already at a slight disadvantage as the leader. You got to take everything you can get.
You most certainly do. And while we were talking about Craig taking every advantage he can get, Kyle Clinmore snuck past Edson Santos. So move Clindy to second, and he's going to go right back into that hip pocket of Craig Forsyth. I don't think Clindy was necessarily trying to pass Craig earlier, and I don't think he's trying to pass him now. He's just trying to do the same clean air thing. You see him hunting around the racetrack, doing anything and everything he can to get clean air on the nose of that number 11 machine. And when we say clean air, Ryan, you don't have to get the whole nose into clean air, do you? You can just have a half of a wing or even a sliver, and it helps you out a ton, right?
Yeah, just anything. It feels like getting half your wing gives you way more than half the amount of downforce that you would normally get, compared to being completely washed out. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't take much, even just a quarter, any kind of an offset that you can get. And you can kind of see Clindy doing it there. Any sort of an offset that you can get is huge. Clindy does not want to go all the way up in turns 3 and 4 because if he did that, Santos would be right there on the bottom. But he doesn't, so he doesn't want to give up a full lane, but you can give up half a lane. Meanwhile, Santos is looking to go through on the bottom on Clindy. He's going to have the draft. As much of a big deal as the air is in 1 and 2 here, it has no effect through 3 and 4 just due to the setup compromise. Matter of fact, a lot of the setups here for leagues and stuff, golly, Clindy went awful high. Ryan, a lot of the setups in leagues and stuff here, you have to go to -20 just on the weight jacker just to make it through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, because it feels like the default turn people have in their minds to prepare for is 1 and 2, which understandable. You sort of have to slow down to make it. But as a result, through 3 and 4, you have so much grip. You could pretty much run under someone's rear wing.
Yeah, and so again, I don't know what kind of setup Matty Wagner's dialed up here. Of course, the Team Watson veteran, he knows how to build them. And for a league race, you're not necessarily building them for outright speed either. You're building them to handle good and drive good, and give guys a challenge, but not necessarily for just pure outright pace. And so, you're kind of seeing that. The cars are driving pretty good, but aero not a factor through 3 and 4. Now you do want to kind of offset through there just to maximize grip, to not wear the tires. And I've done that, but you don't necessarily have to worry about it as much on that end of the speedway. Clinworth's not worried about it at all. He's maintaining that bottom. He is trying to get back by Edson Santos. The battle is on the speedway is for second. That's Edson Santos in the leaner energy machine in front. Kyle Clinworth in the votive sponsored Rogue Racing entry. He is third. Julian Altina is in your picture in fourth. Lith Fox is going to run fifth. And what say we go through the field here and kind of give some different drivers their due. Of course, there's Gary Lovren, the VOR entry, number 34. Good-looking machine. He is sixth. Maroon and white chrome on the side of that car. Alex Miller. He runs in seventh position in the number 49. Right behind him, Josh Ward. That is the inaugural votive series champion that we called, Ryan. So Josh Ward. He just got passed by Stephen Lee in the 31 in the J.R. Hildebrand inspired, while he's working on passing him, in the J.R. Hildebrand inspired number 31 for Stephen Lee. series director Matt Wagner in the. I'm gonna call that the Robbie Gordon Menards car. Is that what that looks like to you? The old Swift livery, maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely reminiscent of it.
I'm gonna call it that. It's got the CD2 on the side. That was only run by Robbie Gordon, so that would have been the Eagle Toyota, if memory serves. A lot of money John Menard spread around back in the mid late 90s. Had his own engine program, of course, sponsored Robbie Gordon in the Champ Car Series. Had his own stable of IRL cars, but always good to see those colors riding around one of these ovals. Greg Ray had a very similar car to that one as well. Won a ton of poles and races for John Menard. Behind them, you're going to have Jari Brubaker. Jari in the '89, he's had his trials and tribulations today, but thankfully, due to fast repair situation, Jari, he's going to be in the 11th spot. Walter Macias, there's the cool man. There's the man with the cools. That car just looks cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I cannot. That's my mind's eye immediately sees Dario Franchitti in about a 2001 Reynard Honda when I see that car. There's Will Stearns, the 306 machine. He'll be 13th on the day. Right behind him, you've got a veteran of the wars. That's Hugo Gallas in the 57. Frank Wynn has battled back. He at one point was 4 laps down. Frank Wynn in the 97 has come all the way back. He's 1 lap down now, but he'll run 15th. Mason Mitchum, of course, involved in an earlier fracas. He is 16th, and he is about to go 2 laps down. That is Craig Forsyth, the leader, right behind him. Nick Wheeler has gone 2 laps down, and so there's Nick in the 88. Andrew Serwak, he is 18th, 4 laps in arrears. Brian Greenlee has retired. Shane Coker sits on the pit lane, 34 laps down, 17 minutes. He is not punched out, but I think Shane might just be watching the proceedings from the comfort of his pit box. And that is everybody that's currently in the field. Go back to the lead. Craig Forsyth has pulled out quite a bit of an advantage now over Edson Santos and Kyle Clinworth, over a second.
Just impressive. Back, earlier we were talking about how Julian was potentially going to catch this group, but Craig decided, you're going to catch the other 2, not me.
Now, here's where the strategy starts. Kyle Clinworth is peeled off. He has gone to the pit lane, as has Frank Wynn and Will Stearns. And so the pit window is open, and these guys are due in any time. Now, what that's going to do, that's going to turn Kyle Clinworth's number 11 into an absolute rocket ship. We're going to follow Clindy as pit stops start because Altina, Santos, they're going to cover Clinworth. They're going to cover him. But let's see, Craig Forsyth last time by, 25,698. Let's see what Clindy can do here with 39 laps to go. He's going to go a lap down, but this is his chance using that undercut to see if he can't somehow get past Craig Forsyth.
And let's see, Forsyth is in.
He most certainly is, so that's going to move Lith Fox to the lead, Gary Lovan second, Josh Ward third, Stephen Lee fourth, Alex Miller round out your top 5. Matt Wagner is 6th, Jari Brubaker 7th. Those are the cars that have not stopped. Jari, of course, pitted under that last yellow, so he's got about 13 laps fewer on tires. Same way for Josh Ward. He's got 37 laps since his last pit stop, so Josh Ward might be in pretty good shape here. He can stay out a little bit longer. That means you can take less fuel, get yourself some fresh Firehawks, and you too could be the fastest man on the speedway at the end. You just got to make sure you don't lose too much time before you get there. Clindy flashes by that time, 25,557, half a second. is the difference over Josh Ward, and a full second over Alex Miller, who is at the end of his pit cycle. Clindy is a second and a half behind Craig Forsyth. But guess what, Ryan? This might be the smartest cat in the alley tonight. Josh Ward going to run it long. He's got the lead. His tires are still good for as long as he wants them to be. He's working lap 39 of this stint. And he's got a lap on the field if something wild happens. There's the yellow.
As you say, something wild did just happen.
And I don't see it, and I don't see anybody going backwards on the screen. Was it Edson?
No, it was Andrew.
Okay. Let's see if we can find Andrew Surwack. There he is. We'll see if we can't get some. We'll see if we can't get some replay pictures for the fans at home. There he is. He's backwards on the front. All right, there's Brubaker going backward through the grass. Surwack going to come off a 4 and just pushes up in the fence. Around he goes and along for the ride. Altina. He's going to get collected by Julian Altina. And then poor Yari Brubaker, just nowhere to go. We'll get into Andrew Surwack. It's been a rough day for Andrew.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it is worth noting that Edson Santos has punched out. And so Santos out of the race here. He'll join Brian Greenlee on the sideline. Shane Coker is 20th. He is still strapped into the number 32 machine, but he is not, still strapped into the number 32 machine, but he has not been on the track in 43 laps. You can't do a broadcast without getting the hiccups, can you, Brian?
Seems to be, it seems to be one of the things that comes with the job.
Absolutely. So that is a beautiful sight if you're Josh Ward. So Ward, Miller, Wagner, all came to the pit lane. They got new tires. Now, those are the only 3 guys that are on the lead lap. Everybody else, Forsyth, Clinwork, etc. Well, Forsyth is going to get the lucky dog. But then beyond that, Clindy and the rest of these guys, they're going to have to go all the way around. They're going to have to take the wave around. And really, Ward, Miller, Wagner, and Forsyth are going to have brand new tires that have no heat cycle on them. And they're going to be chased by guys who are at a serious disadvantage in terms of tires. They're going to be on the lead lap. Clindy is going to be on that lead lap. But he's got 6 laps on the tires. So he's already knocked the good off of the Firestones. But that is a beautiful sight to see the entire field trapped behind that pace car if you're Josh Ward. Getting a little excited there. He went right past it. I wonder what it would be like to watch a race from one of those condos. Maybe we ought to try that. Go to Charlotte or Atlanta or here at Texas and get one of the condos for a race. How would that be?
Probably ridiculous. I know at Charlotte, NASCAR ended up putting SMI ended up putting one of those condos up on Airbnb.
Do I even want to know? Is it one of those if you have to ask, you...
Well, I don't even remember how much it cost per night during the 600.
It would be that, and take a nice motorhome to the 24 Hours of Daytona, and just live in it for a day. We're going to go back to green here. Josh Ward is your leader, and we're going to watch it from the grandstands. There's Barney with a green flag. Here comes Josh Ward. He's all over the loud pedal. He'll lead Alex Miller and Craig Forsyth. 32 to go here at Texas. And Ryan, you got to kind of wonder, is Is Clindy going to be able to get back up there? There you see him. He's working on Wagner, but is he going to be able to get up there given he's at a 7-lap tire disadvantage here?
Ooh, it looks like
Ooh, Forsyth tagged the wall hard. Lost all the momentum. Clinworth is working to the outside of Forsyth. You might have to kind of wonder if Craig did some damage to that car there. He hit that hard.
We're at a stage of the race where you just have to drive through it.
Yeah, I mean he got that hard. That's not netcode. He smacked that thing pretty good. But you're absolutely right. You're not gonna stop and fix it now unless it's coming apart or it's got a meatball. You got to kind of live with it, Ryan. Adjust it on the wall and keep on trucking. But Clindy is third, speaking of trucking, and he is coming. How long do you suppose he's got before that tire disadvantage really shows up here?
Maybe 15, 20 laps if you really push it. It's going to be rough early on when everyone's on fresh tires, but once everyone else starts to wear theirs down, the disadvantage becomes less abrupt.
Now the other thing is, and kind of watching this, you've got the lap machine of Julian Altena up here. He is not a part of this fight for the lead, but Julian would love to get past Josh Ward. He's got past Alex Miller. He would love to get past Josh Ward because that puts him back on the lead lap naturally, and there Julian goes. He's going to get there, but that's one more car with the dirty air throwing it in front of these guys. And if you're Josh Ward and Alex Miller, that's kind of what you want to see. You want as many guys up there making it as hard as they can on Clindy because you know that guy's fast and you know he's going to be coming.
Yeah, and while Julian does have something to fight for at the front, he is, being a bit of a pest, but it's what you have to do if you want to try to get your lead lap back because there's still a lot of time left. There could be another caution. You get the lap back immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that same thing happened with me in the Area 51 race last night at Indianapolis. We had some trouble early on, and I found myself in position racing with the leaders, with 15 laps to go, and somebody keyed the mic and said, "Hey, why don't you let us race for the lead?" And I said, "Hey, I'm racing for something here too." And sure enough, Yellow Flu got back on the lead lap and made up that being a pest was worth 7 spots in the end. And when you're racing for a championship, those 7 spots can be huge. Now Julian knows he's probably not going to win the race, but he's got something to fight for here. He is among the championship leaders, and we'll flash those standings back up here for you. But Julian is third in the points, so he wants to get as many positions as he possibly can, especially given that he's fighting Josh Ward for third in the championship. In other words, he's not going to give second best here. He's going to stay up there and fight for it. Clindy has gotten around Alex Miller, so now he's third. So he's really only racing Josh Ward. Although Altena is up there, he is not part of this fight. Julian is on the tail end of the lead lap. And you're right, caution flies. He's right back in this thing, especially given you're going to have guys that stay out, guys that pit. This could be worth it.
Yeah, and it's going to be an absolute mess during these final 20 or so laps.
If it's not going to be a mess, it'll do till the mess gets here. Josh Ward's your leader. Kyle Clinmore second. Alex Miller third. Those front three have broken away from, we think, what is a compromised car of Craig Forsyth in fourth. Forsyth is under fire from Lith Fox, and Lith is going to go through into fourth, most likely here down the back, and that's going to leave Forsyth vulnerable to Gary Lovren. So the man that's dominated this race, small mistake, got in the wall coming down the front off of 4, and that car has to be driving pretty horribly for Craig, except for him to be falling back, or maybe it's taking all the top speed out of it. Either way, a tough break for Craig Forsyth. Back at the front, though, Clindy continues to stalk Josh Ward. Yari Brubaker, by the way, has punched out. Frank Wynn is on pit road under significant repair. Nick Wheeler 2 laps down. Everybody else on the lead lap, although Julian Altena, he's not on it by much, Ryan, but he's there, and you got to wonder how much that's compromising both Josh Ward and Kyle Clinworth as they try to fight for the lead here.
Probably immensely, because again, just having an extra car there means there's someone out there throwing
Clindy's
dirty
going to throw
air.
it 3 wide. Ooh, awfully close. He didn't quite get there. Saw that coming from a mile away. Kyle Clinworth tried to make the dive on Julian Altena. Now he's going to try to dive on Ward. Ward slams the door, and this fight is just now getting good, gang. The tire advantage does go to Josh Ward by 7 laps. Clindy's going to try it again. Not quite there. Ward going to go back around the outside, and let's get on board with Clindy, and let's see what he sees trying to make these moves. Just a little bit too far back this time, I think, Ryan.
Yeah, just not enough of a run to make that decisive move.
He is doing the right thing, though. He's hooking the bottom. He's not abusing the tires. I think he's waiting on maybe Josh Ward to hurt his Firestones just a little bit. And when he does, he'll be able to be in position to rebuild that run, slip to the inside for good. Here he's got another good one, but just not quite enough. Now he takes it to the high side. You know, could it be that Josh Ward just simply does not want to pass Julian Altena at this point? Kind of using him as a rolling pick, maybe?
I'm not sure, because in a lot of these situations, if he does get past, it's not like anyone could follow him through to also get past Julian. It would be more beneficial to just get by Julian and just use him as a rear gunner.
You know, that could be Clinworth is going to slip to the inside, and he is now going to go by Josh Ward. So Clindy to the lead. Josh Ward second, and Clindy immediately going to go to the outside of Julian Altena. And we're going to see if he's able to finally pass the stubbornly holding on to the lead lap number 10 machine. That's the blue VOR car of Julian Altena. He is the leader on the racetrack, but he is at the tail end of the lead lap. Kyle Clinworth is the race leader. Josh Ward second, and Alex Miller third. The top 3 all in close contact. Lith Fox is a second and a bit behind in 4th. Craig Forsyth has been able to maintain 5th over Gary Lovren and Stephen Lee. But we're getting down to show and tell time. And at what point do you think Julian moves over, or do you think he does?
Nah, if I'm Julian, I'm not moving over until like 3 or 2 laps to go.
You know, that could be. He is on his own lap, and so with 2 or 3 to go, it's not going to hurt him to pull the thing down pit road. It's not going to cost him anything because he is a lap and change ahead of Nick Wheeler, who is 14th. Everybody else is out of the race, and so it wouldn't hurt Julian to pull over here at some point. But Clindy, now this is interesting because I'll pose the same question. Is Clindy going to use Julian as the rolling pick, knowing that he's going to fight hard?
Oh, Clindy's calling on the radio. Oh,
Is that the polite please move?
So I'm gonna say Clindy asks to be let through with 5 to go. I'm not going to say Julian's response on the air because it is not appropriate for broadcast.
You know, and that's the thing, right? Julian has every right to be there. He has every right to fight for his position on the lead lap. He's there. You know, he's got the right to be there. And Clindy throws the dirty air. That's the I'm coming through and you're not getting back by me move from Kyle Clinworth. And so now Clindy has both the lead on the road and he's got a car in between himself and Josh Ward and Alex Miller, who are starting to fade off the back of these front two cars.
Ooh, and I nearly had a heart attack there because a car went around on the back stretch, but thankfully a yellow did not come out. And I would not want to know Julian's response if he finally let a car through and the yellow then came out.
Well, at this point, if yellow does fly, the race is basically over, right? It's going to take 4 laps. We've only got 5 to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. It seems to me that Julian is pretty much cooked at this point. If yellow flew, I don't think we're going back green anyway. But Clinworth is your leader. Closest battle on the track is we don't have one. Everybody is pretty much separated. Is pretty much well separated. The closest battle is second and third. Well, the lead second and third really. Clindy does lead it. You get Altina up there. He is now a lap down. You're watching Alex Miller and Josh Ward, and these two do have something to fight for. Both of them up there in the points. They want the extra 5 for running second. If you can't win, you want to maximize your haul. This is your chance to do it. Especially given that Altina's had trouble. Forsyth has had, Forsyth's fourth, but he's had some trouble. You want to maximize the points as much as you can here. And I think that's all. I think that's all she wrote for Julian. If I'm not mistaken,
Julian got loose and clipped the wall on the exit too.
And now here he comes to pit lane. Yeah, Paula, go Clindy. He's got the go. He's got the go button down. He's got about 2.5 miles now to pay dirt. We'll go ahead and show him the Votive Racing League Rogue Racing entry. Kyle Clinworth, P1 Broadcasting on the side. He is my broadcast partner on Monday nights in the Indy Open Series. And we do have a full slate lined up for you, by the way. We'll elaborate on that in just a little bit. But we're going to be on every night of the week from here on out. Sometimes dual streams, Ryan. We're watching Kyle Clinworth bring it home here at the Texas Motor Speedway in the Horizon IndyCar Series. Off of turn 4, down to the checkered flag, and Kyle Clinworth is going to be your winner. Alex Miller second, Josh Ward bring it home third. And that is going to be the last car through. So your winner tonight here at the Texas Motor Speedway, Kyle Clinworth, going to bring it home by 7.722 seconds over Alex Miller. Josh Ward will round out the bottom step of your podium. Craig Forsyth is going to be fourth. He'll be followed home in fifth. And a well-fought, well-earned top 5 for Gary Lovren. Stephen Lee is going to be sixth. Hugo Gallis seventh. Walter Macias is eighth. Will Stearns is ninth. And Matty Wagner will round out your top 10. In 11th, Mason Mitchum. 12th is going to be Nick Wheeler. 13th, Julian Altina. 14th, Lith Fox. 15th, Yari Brubaker. Frank Wynn, 16th. Andrew Sorowak, 17th. Edson Santos, Brian Greenlee, and Shane Coker are going to round out your 20-car field. And an interesting day.
Yeah, it definitely shakes up it shakes up the championship picture like an Etch-a-Sketch, to be honest.
You know, it most certainly does. Go ahead and get that out of here. Do we have anybody in the interview room, Mr. Ryan?
Let me do a quick check.
Hey.
And we have... Josh Ward is waiting for us so far.
You know, go ahead and bring him up. We're ready for him. There's Josh. And we'll go ahead and get the third place runner up here in the booth. Josh Ward, you got Mark Murphy, Ryan Eric King in the P1 Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's good to have you back up here. You, I think everybody got a piece of the fence or a piece of somebody else today, and certainly that was the case for you. But you managed to persevere, and you caught perhaps one of the best breaks you could ever catch. You had the field trapped a lap down. Kind of walk us through that last run and kind of what you were thinking. Especially with the lap car up there, between, you know, kind of trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, I mean, the 11 had the speed. I know he was probably cooking under the helmet when I was running side by side with the 10, who was a lap down. But it's just kind of what you got to do in these cars. And he got around me, and I burnt my stuff up trying to keep back up with him. But into P3, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, no shame in running third in this field. You score some points, get yourself back in the championship. You've won one of these Wednesday night championships. Kind of tell us about what you're thinking about moving forward.
I mean, just finish every race is the goal, and this race, it got set to a 2-lap average, and I was crawling to the start-finish line in qualifying, and kind of put me behind the 8 ball. I mean, I think I probably, if I would have qualified well, probably had top 5 speed all day, but just got put towards the back. But it's kind of a fun drive through, honestly, and not a big fan of fast repairs, but definitely glad I had that one tonight.
Absolutely. Ryan, do you have anything for the bronze medal winner this evening?
Well, I'd probably ask what was your pit strategy plans once the race started playing out, because Texas in these cars, it becomes a dice roll with the amount of cautions that come out and when they can come out.
Yeah, this car, this is probably the hardest Texas setup I've ever driven. So I really wanted to play long, which is what eventually gave me the lead, and got really lucky there, but still had 10 or 15 laps of fuel left. So I really wanted to be the last car kind of circulating, because I figured something would happen. Some of them would come out on cold tires and wreck, and apparently that's exactly what happened. So yeah, if that would have gone green, I probably would have finished. I don't know where, but nowhere near third, that's for sure.
No worries. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the booth, Josh. It's good to have you back up here one more time. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to this evening, the floor is yours. You've earned it.
Yeah, all the competitors. This is pretty clean. I mean, there was a lot of incidents tonight, but overall, the IndyCar guys are really clean, and I like race with a lot of them, and we'll chop back and forth a little bit, but for the most part, everybody seems to respect each other. So I love the P1 broadcast, and it's a fun league, and just shout out, let's keep having fun.
That's absolutely what we'll do. You keep going fast and having fun too, my friend. We will see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's going to be Josh Ward. He's going to run third today. Second is Alex Miller. And so we'll go ahead and get Alex up here. Alex, you got Mark Murphy and Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Hey, so you were kind of in that same boat as Josh. You were up there most of the day, but then you got the fortuitous caution. Kind of talk us through what you were seeing there at the end with Ward and Altena trying to stay on the lead lap and trying to keep Clindy back there. Obviously, it didn't quite work out, but second place run. Tell us about your day.
So yeah, I actually pitted under one of the cautions to top off, hoping it would go green, because I could one stop to the end after that, and I wasn't sure if the rest of the field would be able to pull it off. But then a bunch more yellows happened, and I kind of just got lost in the shuffle for a while. And then my really weird luck with cautions coming out when I stay out longer than everyone else came to help me again, like it did at Gateway last week, and kind of put me right up in the fight. And then Julian was a little bit of a nasty lapper, unfortunately, but I'm proud of this run. It was a lot better than I expected here. This is not a good track for me in the slightest.
No, it's definitely a tough one, but you made the best of it today, Alex. Ryan, what have you got for second place Alex Miller this evening?
Yeah, it's like, looking back at the championship picture, we don't have the points table in front of us, but a lot of the typical front runners from the early weeks of the season had a less than perfect day today in Texas. Do you think this will really improve your outlook going forward to the upcoming rounds?
I think so, because I definitely remember in past leagues I've had streaks of like bad luck, like I had at the start of the season here, where I just have a bunch of meh finishes in a row, and then the second I get that like podium or like a decent finish, I start ripping them off, because I just get the confidence back of like, yeah, I do know how to drive this car. Like, in fact, I do know how to drive it sometimes, and I can hold pace with even decently quick people. So now having a streak of a couple podiums in a row, and next week is Pocono, which is my home track, so I will always love it there. So hopefully we'll start ripping off the good finishes a bit more now, and I can maybe make a run for a decent spot in the title.
Oh, that sounds great. Hope to see you up front in Pocono.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we do, Alex. Well, second place on the day. And thank you so much for joining us in the booth. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to today, the floor is yours.
Thank you to Taylor Mills for bringing me in for Taylor Mills Racing. It was actually for another IndyCar league in the past, so I've learned a lot there from Olivia Hayward. Is in that server and has helped me. Lilac Zier, who's appears in the top split fixed races pretty frequently. She's helped me a lot. Just all the people over at TMR for just being great company and helping me and picking me up when I'm down and lose a bit of confidence, and they usually bring it right back into me.
Good deal. Well, that is a fun group to race with. I enjoy running with, enjoy racing against them myself, and keep going fast, having fun, and we will see you at the next one, Alex.
Yeah, go Ford, go.
So that is second place Alex Miller, and we'll go ahead and bring in the man of the hour, Kyle Clinworth. And Clindy, you had an interesting day. Started off in the fence, broken, and you wound up in the lead. But that wasn't easy. What was it like trying to take those older tires up past some pretty fast company?
Yeehaw, Murph! It's like I had 2 fully loaded 6-shooters!
Oh my god.
Sorry. I just have to do this for Texas because when you're in Texas, you got to pretend to be Texan, and it's awesome. My sister was born in Denton, Texas, in Denton County, like not far at all from where the racetrack is. My uncle Phil worked security here for a really, really long time. I think he still does. So shout out to my uncle Phil and Aunt Rita and their sons out in the Fort Worth area. But I'll tell you about my race. It was even harder than that. I think I heard Josh telling you about it, but we were not told that this was 2-lap average qualifying. And I did what I had to do to get the absolute fastest, 1 lap, right? My 1 lap was 1/10 faster than everyone else, but my lap before it was about 1.5 seconds slower. So when you average those 2 things together, I started at the very back. I started 10th, right? That's not so good. So I was not very happy about that, and I said I was going to go beast mode, and I did. So passed it just about everybody till I got to Craig, and Craig's just absolutely perfect at these places, and you do not beat Craig unless something happens, right? And we got that caution that messed up the pit cycle. He was going to beat me if the race went green because he'd come out in front and I had no idea how to pass him. He's just that good. And you, the viewer, can go watch him at Forsyth Gaming on YouTube later today. You can go watch our epic duel from his cockpit view, and that'll be pretty sick. But yeah, once that last caution came out and I got the wave around, I think because there were so few cars on the lead lap, I came out 5th. Like, I think something happened to Edson during the pit cycle because Craig was right ahead of me, and then it was like, or Wags was right ahead of me, and then Craig was right ahead of him, and then you had Josh and Alex up there, and maybe Gary. I can't recall, but I think Craig had not been in dirty air all day, and so the first time he came through turn 4 with a huge head of steam, because you build up such a big run down the back and through 3 and 4, I think he pushed on exit, and I'm not sure if he got damaged, but he checked up just enough for me to capitalize and get by him. It was like the one mistake I saw him make all day. And then in front of me were Miller, Ward, and Altena, and Altena I knew was racing to get back on the lead lap. And so when he started mixing it up, and once he got ahead of them, I'm like, okay, cool, he's going to hug the bottom. But he didn't. Like, he left me just enough bottom to where I could Jesper wrap the bottom of the track. I've seen that dude kick so much butt at Texas. I'm like, I got to do what he does. So I started lifting where the quad oval starts. I dragged the brake into turn 1 just so I could rip that bottom every time and at least get my left wing in the air as often as I could. Unless I thought I could really rip the fence or the third lane and get around everybody, I didn't even bother. I'm like, I'm going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to hit the bottom as best as I could. And I probably only succeeded about 30% of the time, whereas Jesper does it 99% of the time. So he's got to take me to school so I can learn to be as good as him. But yeah, well, once Julian got ahead of those leaders, I'm like, okay, all I have to do is pick off Ward at the time, who was in second. And it was just like the race I had with Craig and Edson earlier. I knew that the second place car on track, which was Ward, is going to run the outside in 3 and 4. So I just built every lap to get closer and closer to him until I could take advantage and go by him in 3 and 4 when he's running to the outside of Julian. So I timed it just right so I could slingshot by Ward with Julian's draft and then go to the outside and race with Julian side by side. And then I went beast mode again because I'm like, hey, Julian, I'm the leader of this race and I'd really like some clean air. And it's almost like, 7 or 8 laps to go. When it gets to 5 to go, and if a caution would end the race, would you mind letting me by so I can have the racing line? And he gave me a pretty dismissive answer. And so I went beast mode again, loaded up the revolvers, and just bang, 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 shot him out the back, got a little extra speed, went right by him. Yeah, that's all there was to it. And at that point, it was just about running error-free wall-to-line laps, just like 5 or 6 of them. Ripped those out, and here we are. A very up and down day, very fun and challenging racetrack with this setup in these weather conditions. I think it was like 126 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface of the track. That's just about as hot as they get. So I love it when a track is like this. You get really, really rewarded for being good and for being patient. And I talked with Shane Coker a lot earlier this week that there's 4 things that make you a good race car driver, and none of them are speed. You win so few races because you're faster than other people. You need to be smart. You need to be consistent. You need to be aware, and you need to be safe, right? So if you could do all 4 of those things, you're going to finish in the top 3 of every single race you do at iRacing. Obviously, you can't control for factors like luck or your connection or equipment failures or things like that. But you're only going to ever have to beat 1, maybe 2 drivers with outright pace or outright speed, right? I was fortunate enough that I was able to execute on the 4 tenets of being a race driver, and then I also had the speed to get by the 2 or 3 challengers that were in my way, right? If I were a perfect race car driver on paper, I could finish 3rd and be happy today. I'm very fortunate to be in the position where not only did I execute on those 4 things perfectly, but I was also fast. And, you can't ask for a better day than that, to persevere through a lot of different adversity, starting in the back when you didn't expect to, having a net code contact with Gary Lovern, who I respect a lot and races me clean every time I've ever raced with him. And I knew it wasn't either of our faults. I think I'm going to go back and watch the replay, but I feel like there was at least 2 tires of net code. And then to come through the field after getting waved around, right? Those 3 things, it was really challenging. And I'm glad I had the patience and, the foresight to execute on what takes or what it takes to be a good race car driver besides speed. Because if you just get hot under the helmet and you try to go as fast as possible on a track like this, you're going to burn your stuff up and you're going to be real slow. And being real slow is the opposite of being a good race car driver. You could be real smooth, but if you're real slow, that's a problem.
Yeah, makes complete sense, and it really showed on the track today, because obviously it felt like Craig had a stranglehold on the lead until you showed up.
I couldn't even get by him, right? Craig did everything right, except for he just got a little bit unlucky, and then like he wasn't prepared, he wasn't aware, right? That was the one thing he failed at today. He didn't know what his car was going to do in dirty air, or at least maybe he had practiced it in practice and thought he could get away with a little more than what he had. But I've certainly not been a perfect driver a lot this season, right? And every time that I make a mistake, I try to learn from it. So on Monday night, when I beefed in Isra, dominating that race, I'm like, okay, I don't need to lead every lap. I just got to lead the last one, right? That was my objective today. So glad to execute and glad to get it done.
Absolutely. Well, happy to have you up here in Victory Lane. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out to? Clinty, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I know I've taken up a lot of your time, but I feel like I can talk a little more when you win. So first and foremost, thank you so much to P1 Broadcasting. Without P1 Broadcasting, I wouldn't be in this car. I wouldn't have the teammates that I have now. I wouldn't have the sponsors that I have now. I wouldn't have the fans I have now. I see you guys in chat every week. I see you guys giving thumbs up on the stream. If you're still here and you're still watching, I know it's been a while since the checkered flag, but if you could subscribe, I know that like 30 or 40% of the people who tune into these streams are not subscribed, and it really helps us all out a lot if you do. Also hit that bell notification to get notified whenever we have a new video. I put out track guides for the Indy Fixed series every single week. You can watch those. I try to keep them about 5 minutes long, and you can learn a lot of helpful tips to go fast in the Indy Fixed series for the IR18. Thank you so much to everyone at Rogue Racing. We have a new member of our team this week, graciously from your stable, Murph, previously with IAR, and you guys have all been really great to work with through this process, this time of transition. I know that it's not easy when these types of things happen, but having Jesper on the team has been an absolute blessing. He's a class act. He's very fast. And I look forward to my Rogue teammates and I being certified esports competitors at every single race we do, open and fixed, for the remainder of this season and next, and IIS and pro qualifying. Those are all things that a lot of us have circled on our calendars, and we're going to work very, very hard towards. And Jesper is going to help us just work that little bit much harder. So to Ryan Campbell, Ty Keela, Jacob Collins, Antonio Estrada, and Cody Cavaco, and last but not least, Jesper, thank you so much for being my teammates, always having my back and helping me get better. And then thank you so much to my other family members, my mom and dad watching at home, my cousin Craig, who's my #1 fan, who runs Segerman Farms in Mononk, Illinois. If you need any sort of Wiffle hybrids or agribusiness solutions, please get in contact with me, and I will get you in contact with Craig. I think he can sell you all sorts of different beans, all sorts of different corn, all sorts of different everything that's related to a farm that would be in the most fertile, most glorious land on earth, Central Illinois. So that's where I'm from. I'm born and raised in Normal, but my sister was born and raised in Denton about 3 years before me. So she's from Texas, but I'm from Illinois. And shout out to my lovely wife and her friend. We built a snowman last night. It was her friend's first time in snow, and she didn't understand how it all worked. So it's really fun to show her how to pack snow and throw snowballs and goof around and be a little kid again. And being on the racetrack like this, when everything goes your way, you feel real giddy too, like childhood. So just absolutely, the last 24 hours have been really, really good to me. Work has been a little difficult this week, but when you can have a great time on track, even when you mess up, you can learn from your mistakes, right? And to see that lesson that I learned pay off almost immediately is very, very rewarding.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That is Kyle Clinworth. He is your winner this evening here at Texas. And Ryan, we got treated. It took us a while to get going, but we got treated to a banger in the end, my friend.
Yeah, when it started to shake out, it was fun to see. Like, it really upended a lot of my expectations about how this race was going to go and about how the championship was going to play out going forward.
Absolutely. And speaking of that championship, the points are not yet up, but once they are, we will absolutely get them up to you. And as Clindy said, if you're out there and you're watching, hit the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe. Those are the two easiest and best ways that you can help us out here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. And we have a ton of awesome racing lined up for you. Tomorrow is going to
I'm so sorry.
Tomorrow is going to debut our tomorrow I am going to debut our NASCAR League, the American Motorsports Association. It'll be Sam Crow and I in the booth for the AMA Xfinity Series. That's at 8:20 Eastern Standard Time for their Xfinity Series, and then the Grand National Series, excuse me. And then their Premier Series is going to go on Friday. Those are full distance races, and they are trucks. They kind of do it in reverse over there, and it's kind of cool to see. Awesome action on tap Thursday and Friday. We've got the Classic IndyCar Series upcoming, and then huge announcement. The P1 Broadcasting Network is going to be the home for practice and qualifying for the renamed Hoosier 500, and so we are in absolutely awesome shape there. Of course, we've got the open broadcasts on Monday nights, the top split fixed on Tuesday, and so we do look forward to having you around for a ton of iRacing action. For Ryan Eric King, our founder Gary Godso, and everybody at the P1 Broadcasting Network, thank you so much to our first responders, the police, the fire, the military, the EMTs, everybody that does the hard work at night so that we can lay our heads safely down on the pillows and sleep at night. We will see you next week, same time, same bad channel.